Stop scrolling. Stop pretending your life is fine, because right now, the version of you watching this is weak. The life you've been living, the excuses you've been hiding behind the fear you've been letting control your every choice, it's killing you slowly. I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to wake you up, to make you realize that if you don't act, if you don't fight, if you don't change, your life will never be the one you dream about. You see, most people think success, happiness, or greatness is about luck. They think it's about talent, timing, or waiting for some miracle to happen. But the truth, it's about destroying the weak version of yourself. The part of you that hides, that hesitates, that whispers, I can't. That weak version thrives on your comfort, your fear, your hesitation. And until you recognize it, face it, and crush it, you will keep living small. But here's the reality no one else will tell. You, the strong, unstoppable, legendary version of yourself, is already inside you. It's been waiting while you wasted time. It's been waiting while you gave in to fear. And right now, this is your chance to release it, to step into a life of power, action, and greatness, to move beyond comfort, beyond excuses, beyond the lies you've been telling yourself. So pay attention. Don't blink. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to identify the weak version of your life, destroy the habits and fear that hold you back, and release the unstoppable version of yourself so you can finally claim the life you were always meant to live. And if you leave this video before the end, you will miss the moment that changes everything. Stay, watch, listen, and get ready to rise. I need you to stop right now and take a good hard look at your life. Not the version you tell your friends about, not the version you post on social media. I mean the real one, the one you hide from yourself, because it is easier to pretend than to face it. That version, the weak version, has been holding you back longer than you realize. And until you identify it, until you confront it with brutal honesty, nothing else you do is going to matter. Let me be clear, this weak version of your life is not a stranger. It's not something out there somewhere. It inside you. It in the way you stay in your comfort zone, the way you scroll endlessly at night instead of building something meaningful, the way you convince yourself tomorrow will be different while today slips away. It inhabits you, the justified, the relationships you tolerate, the fear you feed, and the excuses you've rehearsed. And the scariest part, you've been allowing it to live there, safe and undisturbed, because change is hard, because facing the truth hurts, because admitting that you've settled even just a little is terrifying. The weak version of your life thrives on invisibility. It doesn't want you to see it clearly, because once you do, it loses control. It survives when you look the other way, when you accept mediocrity as normal, when you tell yourself it's fine. This is good enough. But here's the truth. Good enough is a lie. Settling is poison. Comfort is a cage. And as long as this weak version exists, you are living a life beneath your potential. Think about how much time you've wasted simply hiding from yourself. How many opportunities have passed by because you didn't believe in your own power? How many times have you stayed quiet, avoided risk, or chosen easy over meaningful? Every one of those moments has strengthened the weak version. Every habit of avoidance, every act of procrastination, every rationalization has been building walls around you, convincing you that you cannot rise, that you cannot achieve, that you cannot change. And until you tear those walls down, nothing will change. Confronting your weak version is not about shame. It's not about blaming yourself or beating yourself up for what you haven't done. That's a trap too, because guilt accomplishes nothing. What you need is clarity, awareness, the ability to see your life exactly as it is, stripped of excuses and illusions. Ask yourself the hard questions. Where am I settling? Where am I afraid to step forward? What habits, relationships, and fears are keeping me small? Which parts of my life are fueled by comfort, fear, and laziness rather than courage, purpose, and action? Don't answer them lightly. Don't sugarcoat your answers. Look at them like an opponent across the ring. Identify them, name them, understand them, because that is the first step to destroying them. This weak version of yourself isn't just inside your mind, it's in your environment, in the people you surround yourself with, in the media you consume, in the routines you cling to. It whispers, stay here, don't risk, don't change, don't disrupt your life. And if you listen, if you allow it to guide you, it will quietly steal everything you were capable of achieving. It will steal your ambition, your dreams, your potential, and leave you with a life that looks safe but feels empty. That's the danger. It doesn't come at you with a threat. It comes at you with comfort. And comfort is the most dangerous trap of all. But here's the truth no one else is going to tell you. The weak version of your life is only powerful because you allow it to be. It cannot control you unless you give it permission. That fear, that hesitation, that self-doubt, they are not facts. They are choices. You have been choosing them. You have been feeding them. You have been keeping that weak version alive by accepting it as your reality. And now, it's time to make a different choice. Let me tell you what happens when you finally face it. When you stop hiding, when you stop rationalizing, when you stop making excuses and start seeing your weak version for what it truly is, you gain power. Not the kind of power that others can give you, not the kind of luck that falls into your lap, but the raw, unstoppable power that comes from taking ownership of your life, ownership of your habits, your thoughts, your choices. Because once you confront the weak version, you stop giving it control. Once you confront it, you stop letting fear dictate your decisions. Once you confront it, you reclaim your life. This confrontation is not a one-time act. It is a process. You will discover layers of excuses, habits, fears, and rationalizations you didn't even know existed. Some of them will shock you. Some of them will make you angry at yourself. And some of them will make you cry because you see how much time you've wasted. But don't stop. This is not the time for weakness. This is not the time for guilt. This is the time for action, for clarity, for ownership. The weak version of your life cannot survive where honesty and action exist. Here's the part most people never understand. Awareness alone is not enough. You can see your weak version, know it's there, even admit it, but if you don't act, you're still its prisoner. Awareness without action is like spotting a fire, but refusing to put it out. The weak version will continue to thrive in your inaction, and every day you delay, it grows stronger. So identification must lead to confrontation. Confrontation must lead to dismantling, and dismantling must lead to building, because the version of yourself you are meant to be, the strong, unshakable, unstoppable version, cannot emerge until the weak version is gone. Let me be honest, this is uncomfortable, painful even. You will resist. That weak version will fight to survive. It will cling to you. Our mind, whispering lies, making excuses, tempting you back into comfort. It will tell you you can, till you are not ready, it is too late. And the truth is, it is going to take courage, real courage. Courage to face your fears, to take responsibility for your life, to make choices that others will not understand. Courage to step into discomfort. Because comfort is where the weak version thrives, and discomfort is where strength is born. So I want you to do this. Look in the mirror, take a long, honest look at yourself, not the version you want to be, not the version everyone else sees, the real one, the one with weaknesses, excuses, and fears. Name them, own them, acknowledge them, and then listen closely, commit to leaving them behind. The weak version dies the moment you decide you will not accept it as your reality any longer. It dies the moment you step into action, no matter how small that first step may be. And once it dies, something extraordinary happens. The real you, the version capable of greatness, emerges. Because here, as the truth, the weak version of your life has only one enemy. One. And that enemy is you. The real, strong, courageous, relentless you. The you who refuses to settle. The you who refuses to let fear dictate your life. That version is waiting inside you right now, ready to rise, ready to claim the life you were always meant to live. And it does wait forever. Time is not patient, and life does pause. So see it, face it, own it, confront the weak version of your life, and never look back. Because once you do, everything changes. You take control. You reclaim your power. You decide who you are, and the weak version disappears like smoke in the wind. And remember this, the weak version of your life will try to hold on until your very last breath if you let it. But if you refuse, if you act, If you destroy it decisively, it dies, and from its ashes rises the person you were always meant to be, a person who doesn't settle, doesn't hide, and doesn't apologize for striving to be extraordinary. Now that you've faced the weak version of your life, seen it clearly, and named it for what it is, the next step is non-negotiable. It's the step where most people fail. Awareness is nothing without action. Identifying your weakness is the first spark, but it is not the fire. The fire, the unstoppable, transformative force, is ruthless action. And I'm not talking about small, polite steps. I'm talking about action that scares you, that pushes you beyond your limits, that forces the weak version of yourself to retreat because it cannot survive in the presence of courage. Let me be blunt. Comfort is a killer. Comfort is the silent murderer of dreams, the quiet assassin of potential. It whispers, relax. Take it easy. You'll get there eventually. And if you listen, it lulls you into a slow death of mediocrity. Fear is the same. Fear paralyzes. It tells you you can't do this. You'll fail. People will judge you. And when you listen, you hand your power over to something that doesn't even exist outside your mind. Fear and comfort are the two greatest enemies of the human spirit. They are the chains that bind people to lives far smaller than they were meant to live. And if you want transformation, if you want to rise, you have to take relentless action against both. Ruthless action means no excuses. It means no waiting for the right time. The right time will never come. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. Every moment you delay, the weak version grows stronger. The chains tighten, and your opportunity slips further from your grasp. Action is the antidote to weakness, and it must be immediate, intentional, and consistent. You do not negotiate with fear. You do not reason with comfort. You move, you act. You take what you need from life with clarity and precision. Here's the thing, action is uncomfortable. It should be uncomfortable. If it isn't, you're not challenging yourself. The weak version of your life thrives on comfort because comfort is easy. Action that matters, action that transforms, is messy. It's risky. It exposes you to criticism, to failure, to the unknown. But that is precisely why it works. The growth, the strength, the unstoppable momentum you seek is born in the space where fear and comfort cannot reach you. That space is uncomfortable, unfamiliar, and sometimes terrifying. And if you want to rise, you have to go there willingly. Every single day, look at your habits. Look at your routines. Are they moving you toward your goals, or are they keeping you stuck? Taking ruthless action means cutting out what no longer serves you. It means removing the distractions, the toxic relationships, the self-sabotaging thoughts, and the excuses you've been clinging to. Every habit that reinforces fear or comfort is a weapon against your future. If you truly want to rise, you must destroy those habits. You must replace them with rituals of courage, consistency, and discipline. That is how you reclaim control. That is how you break free from the weak version of yourself. And let's talk about fear, because this is where most people stumble. Fear is not an enemy to negotiate with, it's a challenge to overcome. It's a test of your will, your determination, and your commitment to yourself. Every time fear tells you to back down, that is the exact moment you should lean in. Every time your mind screams you can't, that is the exact moment to prove it wrong. Action in the face of fear is the single most powerful statement you can make to the weak version of your life. It says, I am in charge. You do not control me. You cannot stop me. Ruthless action is not reckless action. It is calculated, relentless, and purposeful. It's about knowing what you want, understanding the obstacles in your way, and taking deliberate steps to remove them. It's about designing your life in a way that fear and comfort have no room to survive. It's out structuring your day, your mind, and your environment so that every choice you make moves you closer to the version of yourself that refuses to settle. That is how you take control. That is how you rise. Here's a harsh truth. Most people will watch this, hear this, and go back to their comfort zone. Most people will nod, feel inspired for a moment, and then retreat. Don't be most people. Don't be weak. Don't let fear and comfort steal your life. Your strength is in your action. Your power is in your discipline. Your freedom is in your willingness to be uncomfortable, to take risks, and to face what others refuse to face. Think about the people who inspire you, the ones who seem unstoppable. They didn't get there by staying comfortable. They didn't get there by listening to fear. They got there by acting relentlessly, consistently, and courageously. They moved when it was hard. They persisted when it was painful. They chose action over excuses, courage over fear, and growth over comfort. That is the pattern of greatness. That is the principle you must follow. And action is not just about huge, dramatic moves. It's about consistent, daily choices. It's about showing up when no one is watching. It's about doing the work that feels boring, tedious, or difficult, because that work compounds into momentum. Every small step you take against fear and comfort is a victory. Every decision to act, no matter how minor it seems, chips away at the weak version of yourself. And over time, those small steps create a tidal wave of transformation that fear and comfort cannot survive. You must also understand that ruthless action requires accountability. You cannot allow yourself to slip back into old habits without consequence. You need structures, systems, and standards that demand excellence. You need to hold yourself to a higher level, because if you don't, the weak version will sneak back in while you're distracted, and it will rebuild faster than you can imagine. Action without accountability is like a fire without oxygen. It dies out. To truly destroy the weak version of your life, you must ignite your efforts with both intensity and discipline. And here's the thing about fear, it will never fully go away. That's not the goal. The goal is not to eliminate fear, but to act despite it. The goal is to make fear irrelevant. You do that through repeated action, through persistence, and through discipline. Every time you act in the face of fear, you grow stronger. Every time you push past comfort, you gain momentum. Every time you refuse to retreat, you reinforce the truth that the weak version of your life longer controls you. So, take a moment and ask yourself, what am I avoiding right now? What risks am I afraid to take? What challenges am I running from because it's uncomfortable? Whatever your answer is, that is where your growth lies. That is where your freedom is waiting. That is where you must go, relentlessly, ruthlessly, without hesitation. Because comfort and fear are not negotiators, they are predators. And the only way to survive, the only way to thrive, is to take action that scares you, challenges you, and forces the weak version of your life to collapse. This is the moment to commit. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when the conditions feel perfect. Now, right now, take the first step, make the first move, confront the fear, crush the comfort, and take control of your life with ruthless determination. That is how you rise. That is how you become unstoppable. That is how you reclaim what was always yours but has been stolen by hesitation, fear, and weakness. Remember, the weak version of your life cannot survive in the presence of action. Courage is contagious. Momentum is inevitable once you begin. Fear and comfort are illusions. They only exist to be challenged and overcome. Every step you take against them is a step toward freedom, power, and greatness. So act. Act boldly. Act decisively. Act relentlessly. Because the moment you do, you will no longer be a prisoner of your own weakness. You will have begun the transformation from a life of hesitation, fear, and comfort to a life of unstoppable power, relentless pursuit, and undeniable greatness. And when you look back one day, you won't recognize the person who once cowered, hesitated, or settled. You will only see someone who fought, acted, and refused to be small. Someone who refused to let fear or comfort dictate their destiny. That is the person you are meant to be. That is the life you are meant to live. Now, you've done the hardest part. You've stared the weak version of your life in the face. You've named it. You've acknowledged it. And you've taken ruthless action against fear and comfort. You've begun to dismantle the chains that kept you small. But knowing, identifying, and acting are only part of the journey. There's one final step, and it is the most critical. It's the step where your life transforms completely. It's the step where you release the unstoppable version of yourself and finally claim the greatness that's always been inside you. Listen carefully, because this is where most people fail. Most people work hard. They take steps. They make some progress, but they never fully allow themselves to rise. They stop short of claiming their power. They stop short of becoming who they truly are. Why? Because it's uncomfortable. Because it feels bigger than they can handle. Because it requires not just action, but commitment at the level of identity. Releasing your unstoppable self is not about doing more, it's about becoming more. It's about transforming your very essence so that your life can no longer be dictated by fear, comfort, or doubt. The unstoppable self is already inside you. It's not somewhere in the future, it's not a distant dream, it's not something you have to earn from the outside. It is the raw, untapped potential that has always existed within you. It's the version of you that refuses to settle, that refuses to compromise, that refuses to listen to excuses. It's the version of you that dreams bigger, acts bolder, and refuses to be stopped. The reason it hasn't emerged fully yet is because the weak version has been blocking it. The weak version has been telling you you're not ready, that you're not strong enough, that you can't handle it. But here's the truth: you are ready. You are strong enough. And you have the ability to handle whatever comes your way. You just need to claim it. Claiming your unstoppable self requires a radical shift in your mindset. It's not enough to act sometimes or to push yourself occasionally. It's about fully aligning your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions with the version of yourself you want to become. You must think like someone who is unstoppable. Speak like someone who is unstoppable. Act like someone who is unstoppable. Every decision, every choice, every action must reinforce that identity, because who you become is not determined by what you do in isolated moments. It's determined by the consistent patterns of behavior you choose over time. And this is where courage meets philosophy. To release your unstoppable self, you must understand one fundamental principle: greatness is a choice, not a gift. No one gives it to you. No one hands it to you. The world does not owe you anything. Your life is yours to shape, and if you don't take it by force, someone else will define it for you. Releasing your unstoppable self is the conscious act of refusing to let others or your past or your fears define your reality. It's the refusal to remain small when you were born to rise. It's the recognition that you have the power to create the life you want and the responsibility to do so relentlessly. And here's the key: once you begin to act from this place, everything changes. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach begin to appear. Relationships begin to shift. Challenges that used to overwhelm you now feel like stepping stones. The energy you carry transforms the world around you. People notice. Circumstances respond. But none of this happens by accident. It happens because your identity has shifted. Your energy, your focus, your presence now communicates a simple but profound truth. You are no longer bound by the weak version of yourself. You are unstoppable. Now, releasing your unstoppable self also requires resilience. It requires the ability to rise again and again, even when the world resists you, even when fear creeps back in, even when setbacks occur. Because here's the truth: the weak version of your life never disappears completely. It will test you. It will challenge you. It will try to pull you back into old habits and old thinking. And this is where true strength is revealed, not in avoiding difficulty, but in persisting despite it. Every time you rise above fear, every time you refuse to settle, every time you act from courage rather than comfort, you reinforce the unstoppable version of ourself. You make it stronger. You make it unshakable. Think about your life like a sculptor shapes a block of marble. The weak version of your life is the excess stone, the raw material that hides the masterpiece within. Every act of courage, every decision to move forward despite fear, every choice to act ruthlessly against comfort chips away at the unnecessary, revealing the form that was always there. The unstoppable self is not created, it is revealed. It has always existed, waiting for you to take the chisels of action, persistence, and self-discipline to uncover it And let's be honest, this is uncomfortable. This process is not for the faint of heart. It requires sacrifice. It requires letting go of the people, places, and habits that no longer serve you. It requires stepping into spaces where you feel exposed, where you feel vulnerable, where you feel uncertain. But that is the price of greatness. That is the cost of claiming your unstoppable self. And if you are unwilling to pay it, the weak version will creep back in and claim you again. But here's the most important part. The reward is worth it. Because when you release your unstoppable self, you begin to live life on your own terms. You stop reacting to circumstances. You stop waiting for permission. You stop hoping that someone else will decide your worth. You step into the full power of your potential, and the world bends to the force of your presence. This is not arrogance. This is truth. When you operate from your unstoppable self, you operate from clarity, courage, and relentless focus. You move through the world differently because you have transformed yourself from within. And don't confuse this with perfection. Releasing your unstoppable self does not mean you will never make mistakes. It does not mean life will be easy. It means that no matter what comes your way, you respond with clarity, power, and resilience. It means that when fear appears, you act anyway. When comfort tempts you, you choose growth anyway. When the world doubts you, you move forward anyway. That is the essence of the unstoppable self. It acts, it persists, it rises, it conquers, regardless of circumstance. So here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to look at the life you are living and ask yourself a single question. Am I fully claiming the version of myself that refuses to settle? Am I stepping into the power I have inside me? Or am I still allowing fear and comfort to dictate my life? Because the answer is not in thinking about it. It's in doing. It's in taking action every day in alignment with the unstoppable version of yourself. Every choice you make either strengthens the weak version or strengthens the unstoppable version. There is no neutral ground. And here's the final truth. Your unstoppable self is waiting. It has always been waiting. It is the version of you that does not compromise, that does not apologize for striving for greatness, that refuses to let life happen to you and instead makes life happen through you. It is the version of you that will rise above doubt, above fear, above comfort, and claim what is yours. But it will only emerge if you choose to let it. You must decide fully and without hesitation that you will no longer live beneath your potential, that you will no longer allow the weak version to define your reality, that you will no longer settle. And when you make that decision, something extraordinary happens. You step into your life with power, clarity, and purpose. You become magnetic to opportunities. You inspire others by your example. You move through challenges with strength and resilience. You no longer question your ability to rise because you have chosen to rise. You no longer wait for permission because you have given yourself permission to be extraordinary. You are unstoppable. So remember this. The weak version of your life dies the moment you choose to release your unstoppable self. It cannot survive where courage, action, persistence, and identity exist. It cannot survive in the present. You have someone who refuses to settle, refuses to fear, and refuses to compromise. The unstoppable self is your birthright, waiting for you to claim it. Step into it fully and without hesitation, because the moment you do, your life will never be the same again.